Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Yes, this is another kind of get ready with me. I really enjoyed doing the last one, and since I have some prep work to do because I have some family photos, I guess like today when you guys are seeing this, because I'm filming it the night before, so I don't have like a lot of stuff because I have school and whatnot. But that's besides the point. And I just figured, I loved doing this video of just kind of hanging out and chatting and whatnot. So come get ready with me again. So I hope everybody is doing great. I am doing okay. I'm busy with school and family stuff, and that's exciting. So today is November the 5th, which I don't know who would all know this, but remember the 5th of November from V for Vendetta. I love that movie. It is literally in one of the top 5 of my favorite movies. I thoroughly, ouch, that touched me, thoroughly enjoy that movie. It's dark. Honestly, it's not that far-fetched, like, of what could happen in like a world one day. Like, it's not, I don't know, that like kind of crazy to see that like that would never happen. Like, you never know, right? And that video was made such a long time ago. And just kind of like looking at the world that it is now, it's kind of like, well, I hope I'm not around for that. Yeah, see, this side's not gonna do shit today again. Anyways, now we will try to work on magic. What else is there to talk about? Okay. I've noticed I am the type of person, and I've always stated this, that I love helping people. Like, that is, or being there for people or supporting people, that is my thing. And I used to say, oh, I don't like the light shined on me because, like, I'm just not that type of person. And it's true, I'm not. I don't like to be, like, center of attention. It's just not a good thing for me. Or, like, it's hard for me to let people in. And yes, to an certain extent, but I find that I attract people that never want to put me first. Like, if that's kind of, I know it's harsh to say, but like, I've noticed like a trend in my life that like most people in my life, I'm not saying all, but most, like, they say they want to be for me there and be there for me and support me and whatnot. And then when the time comes, it's like they're off doing something else. I'm not that important in their life. And like, I get that. Like, I get people have like other lives and I'm not like the center of attention, and that's not what I'm trying to get at. I'm just saying, people tend to pick their needs and wants. Okay, let me rephrase that. Sorry. They want me to bend to their needs and wants. Like, it's never about me and what I want and what I need. It's always about somebody else wanting something or needing something. And it's like, they kind of act like they listen or they pay attention or like they care and stuff. And then you kind of find out like they haven't, that, they just were off helping somebody else, or they just weren't paying attention. And then, because like I'm finding that when I'm talking to people, close friends that have seen this video, they're like, yeah, well, we know like some of the stuff like I've told people, right? And they're like, yeah, I remember when you told me that, but like I didn't like fully like get it or like want to understand or hear it until I saw it in a video. And it's like, that's great. Like, I know that some people, like, that's how they learn or they listen. Like, I get that. I totally respect that. it's just sometimes it's like in those situations, it's just like I'm the one that gets shit upon because it's like, oh, I'm not sharing enough, or I'm not caring enough, or it's just like it's always about them and not about, you know, me. And then it's like, you know, when something doesn't work out, like I'm the one to blame, right? And then it's like, oh, later on it comes around to saying, oh no, it was me, you know, it wasn't you, it had nothing to do with you, and blah blah blah, trying to like, I guess, ease their conscience. So like I've noticed that, like even close people in my life, like, you know, the ones that say they're gonna be there for me and that they are, and you know, that like, you know, I come first in their life, and which again, I understand shit comes up, but it's like in situations where it's like, you know, you don't even want to hear my side of things, you just totally pick somebody else's side, and then it's like, oh well, it's your fault, and then it's like, oh, I got nothing to blame. Or it's just like the more they make the situation more dramatic than it is, and then it's left with a whole bunch of confusion and stuff, and then they turn around and say, well, next time I'm not going to get involved and stuff. And it's just like, it's just like, you know, that's kind of like maturity, right? And sometimes like I have that expectation of like, yeah, you know, you're almost 30 or you're mid-20s or whatever. It's just like, can you have an adult conversation or be in an adult situational conversation, you know, and have that amount to something and mean something. And then it's like when you kind of find out, like, it's not once, not twice, but 3 times, like, this shit has happened, you kind of put that on the back burner and you're like, okay, well, you know, it's like I can't talk to that person about serious shit, you know? And then it just becomes like a whole lot of things of drama and whatnot. And it's like I'm noticing, sorry, I didn't want to really like talking and spraying and joking at the same time. Jesus Lord on a stick. Like I've noticed, like my friends that I talked to in the last video, I talked about the guys I used to work with and stuff. Like one of them I dated, and you know, it's not that I got in trouble for dating him. I kind of felt like somebody in my life was a little bit judgy. And like, okay, so I tried to make a video about this yesterday, and I'm like, that's not the right time, so I did the other video. But like, yeah, we didn't necessarily say, oh, we're dating, like we put a label on and it was on Facebook and everything. No, like we kept it private, and you know, we were trying to figure it out because we didn't know, we both knew, like, again, we weren't in the best state of mind, and like we fully knew that, so it's like not to put a label on it, and then, you know, it's just a lot easier that way. And, you know, I kind of got judged by that in a way, and it's just whatever. So that was a whole thing. It's like, you know, okay, here's another topic I wanted to talk about, and I don't know if I'm gonna get a lot of hate for it, but I find people take things to the extreme these days. And okay, let me explain. I'm seeing most of this like in TV shows or movies or mostly in that. I'm not saying that it's all based on that, but I'm saying that a good portion of it, like, I'm seeing is like that. So there was a trailer for this movie, and I forget the name, so I don't want to, I would say it, I just honestly, it's not at the top of my head, because like I saw the trailer and like that wasn't the thing that stuck out to me. I was like, okay, cool, this like seems like an interesting movie, blah blah blah. And then a news article popped up on my like Google News thing or whatever, and it said that people were complaining about this one character, and yes, I guess she's the villain, and yes, she has some type of deformity, like she has like 3 fingers or something, and then people were like, oh, well, that's bashing people with disabilities and stuff. and like that's gonna like give kids like a hard time, and it's just gonna make life difficult for children that have disabilities and blah blah blah. I'm like, what the fuck? It's a movie. Like, I grew up on Disney movies and like kind of fantasy, and it's like, yeah, so we saw some characters that didn't look, you know, the normal typical human, like the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit. Like, there was dwarves and elves and witches and wizards and like trees that talked, and like, and then there's like Harry Potter, there's witches and wizards and other creatures and stuff, and like none of that, like, I never, like, my generation wasn't like, okay, yes, we were judgy as fuck when it came to like real life, I'm finding, but or like the older generations, like, they didn't sit there and nitpick and be like, oh, this is gonna like do damage to our children and stuff and blah 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 blah. Like, they didn't do that. And now it's just like parents that I guess are like my age, a little bit older, or definitely younger. It's like they're just coming out of the woodworks and judging everything. And like, it's like, is that really necessarily? Like, yes, have a conversation with your kids. Like, yes, that does happen in real life, that people do look that way or have that disability. Again, that doesn't make them like a bad, evil person. And it's like, there's plenty of characters that are good out there that have a disability, that look a little different. And it's just like, that's never called into question as much as it is if like you see a character that is a villain and looks different. Like, I don't know, that just kind of like annoys me a little bit when people are taking things too literally, I don't know, something like that. and then it's just like, there's this big heap, and then people have to come out and apologize, and then it's like, I don't know, and then it's just turned into this big hoopla, and then they have to go and refilm stuff and make it different. And it's like, why can't you just watch a movie with your child or by yourself and not have it be, and not have yourself like judged and point out everything that's wrong with it, you know? Like, yeah, if kids ask questions, of course, like, you know, have a conversation with it, but you don't literally have to like point out all the flaws and stuff and say, oh, that's gonna make somebody feel the type of way. It's like, it just doesn't make sense to me. And it's like, you know, I don't know. It's like this big, complicated thing. And I know to some people this is a big deal, which I'm saying could get me a lot of hate. And like, I get your point of views that it could look a certain way. But also you have to look on the flip side that there's like a lot of people not just watching the movie frame by frame, picking out all the things that are like, that seem wrong or different or whatnot. And they, honestly, a lot of people just don't do that. They just go to the theater or, you know, go on demand or watch it on Netflix or Disney or whatever just to watch a movie. You know, if you point out the things that are wrong, it's obviously going to draw attention to it. You know? Like, I know that kind of doesn't really make sense, but it's just like, if you honestly kind of just sit there and always point out like the flaws and things that are different, like, kids will pick up on that and they will act a certain way towards it. And if they see somebody in real life, you know, they will act a certain way. But of course, it's you know, if you have a conversation with your kids beforehand, or like with your spouse, or, you know, your friends or whatever, you know, it would make things a lot like different. Instead of just having and pointing out the flaws, wait until questions are asked from, like, you know, a spouse, a child, a parent, whatever, instead of honestly going online and bashing everything about it, you know? it's just, sometimes it just blows my mind that, yes, you know, I mean, in my day and age, like Disney, the villains were kind of portrayed as like dark, you know, they might have looked a little different, the color might have looked a little different, and obviously that was the villain. But it's like, I didn't go on the street and pointed at somebody that would look different and said, hey, they're evil. Like, I didn't do that because I wasn't raised that way. Or like, you know, I did ask questions like, oh, well, I mean, I don't even think I asked these questions, but like when I did have a question, I asked it. I didn't like, you know, my parents didn't sit down and say, okay, before you see this movie, this character's gonna look this way, blah, blah, blah. Like, they didn't do that. They just let us watch the movie, and if we had questions, they answered it. You know, we had a conversation. They didn't point out things that were wrong with it. Sorry, that was a little bit of a rant, but I kind of hate it when people just do that, you know? They just obviously point out, like, things that could be damaging, when, in essence, they aren't, if they're, you know, handled in the right situation, instead of like making people feel terrible for something that they created and worked hard on it, you know? I don't know. Sorry, that was a little ramble. I saw that and it just kind of like infuriated me and like blew my mind. I guess it's something like, again, like I'm a very open person, and like I don't judge people. Like I don't, like, it doesn't bother me. Like, I know this is gonna sound douchey, but I never saw color. Okay, no, I'm not colorblind or color deficient. To me, I never saw somebody that was, you know, colored as colored. Like, you know, I saw the person for who they are. I saw their heart, their soul, their eyes, whatever. And then it's like, when somebody pointed it out to me, it was just like, okay, like, it was never a big deal. And like, I know this is going to turn into like a broader conversation, and I plan on doing a video way down the line about that and stuff. Well, not way down the line, but like, you know, a fair time away and stuff, because I know it's a really touchy subject and probably will always be a touchy subject. It's just like, I was not one of those people to like, you know, point out that somebody was colored or not colored, or, you know, from another background than me. Like, I never, like, yeah, I'm friends with them because, you know, they're da-da-da-da-da. No, I'm just friends with them because they're a good person, like, you know? And like, again, I will never understand how it feels to be that way. That sounded weird. To be colored. Like, I'm never gonna pretend to understand, but I'm willing to learn, and I'm willing to listen, and, well, not like learn like, oh, what is it like to be colored? More like learn about like what they go through and what they deal with, and like kind of hear their point of views on things. And that's, you know, one way I can, you know, I guess, support. And I say that like, because it's just like, I don't feel like this has to be a thing, but it is a thing, you know? It's an exhausting thing, but it's a thing, apparently. And again, I know that makes me sound douchey. And again, I will be doing videos that go into further into this. This is kind of just like an overview on what's on my mind. And yes, I'm putting a lot of hairspray in my hair. Girl, my hair is thick as shit. Like, it's thick. Ooh, girl's got thick hair. And honestly, I'm gonna have to redo it again tomorrow anyway. But, you know, it's a baseline. But yeah, I know like some of these topics kind of make me sound, and again, this isn't me beating myself up. I'm just a little bit hard on myself because people are judgy as hell these days, and they nitpick at everything somebody says, right? So it's like, it's not me beating myself up. It's just me kind of pointing out, like, yes, I know it comes across a little bit douchey. No, that's not me beating myself up. That's just kind of fact that people take things and nitpick them, and like if you say something out of context, or like if you say something, you know, that's could be a little judgy, you know, they just rip apart that person, and like I'll never understand that at all. Again, you know, we do what we can, you know. But again, like that's just me pointing out that yes, I know how it sounds to some people. And again, no, that's not me being hard on myself. I know some people, I'm not saying all, but I've had a few people comment that, you know, I'm too hard on myself. And I get that. I know how that looks. Honestly, I do. But that's not my intention at all. It's just kind of me pointing out the fact that, you know, I can see things differently, and I handle things differently, and, you know, most people do. They all handle the stuff in their own way. And, you know, yes, I was hard on myself back in the day, really hard on myself. And, you know, sorry, that was whatever. You know, I am still tend to be hard on myself. And no, it's not building, you know, ripping myself apart or whatnot. It's just me. That's just the type of person I am. I tend to be a little bit hard on myself, and that could, you know, be my upbringing. I don't know. That's just who I am. Again, it's not beating myself up or like pointing out all my flaws and sitting on here and me being like, oh, I'm a nerd, you know, da 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 da. I'm a full-on nerd. I get that. Like, I'm not trying to hide it. This isn't me, you know, being mean to myself. It's just fact, girl. I am a nerd, and I'm proud of it. Yeah. So, you know, honestly, it's just, I know how cautious you kind of have to be these nowadays, especially if you're on the internet doing videos like this, of what you say and what you do, because people are judgy as hell, and I'm steaming, good lord. People are judgy, and they do rip apart your words and stuff. So yes, when I do say, you know, oh, that's not what I think of back, like that's what I thought about then, this is not now, this might come off a certain way, that's not me being rude on myself or bringing myself down. That's me just being self-aware that yes, it's gonna come kind of across in a odd sort of way to some people, and yes, I'm aware of how it sounds. I'm not trying to be rude or disrespectful. I'm just trying to get, I guess, my point across in the least kind of rude way. Anyways, that was a long tangent, and I kind of somewhat did my hair. It's kind of somewhat cooperating. You know, we'll see tomorrow. Get up, you know, fix it, and kind of move on from there. So anyways, I hope you guys liked this kind of somewhat get ready with me. I mean, it is what it is. It's nothing fancy. It's just me having conversation with you all. Anyways, guys, thank you for all the support and love that you give me. Honestly, it is so mind-blowing and appreciated. I never like knew I was gonna get these many views or, you know, likes, or just thank you for all the support and love that you guys give me. I really appreciate it. I'm just here to kind of, you know, let you know that somebody's here for you, and it doesn't matter, you know, who you are or what you do, you know, I'm here for you. And again, I know that sounds, you know, that I'm one of those people, you know, but I'm just saying, just, you know, thank you for giving me the chance to prove that, you know, I'm here for you and all that stuff, and kind of showing my life and all that goodness that comes with it. Anyways, guys, I've kept you on here long enough. Anyways, remember, never give up, always keep fighting. You're enough, and you're very much loved. Until the next video, I love you guys.